So we are going to take a look at Count Dankula. And his talk about Fallout was not a critique of capitalism. So I've not watched him before. I have not watched his videos, so I have no idea what to expect. Several of his videos have been suggested, but because I don't know about his content, I was holding off on any of them. But this, where talking about Fallout, feels like a safe topic to dive into with him, and should be interesting. So let's check this one out.
We've all had to deal with those people on Twitter whenever we make any Fallout references or memes or even just talk about how much we like the Fallout games, except for 4. 4 was terrible. I mean, the gameplay was actually quite good. The city building, still very janky, but you know, it kind of worked. The RPG elements were terrible, though. You know, it's from the same company that brought you, like, Elder Scrolls. The RPG was just terrible. But as soon as you talk about how much you like it or make memes, you get those usual.
Wait, no critique of Fallout 76? Really? Fallout 4 was bad, but no critique of 76? I mean, damn. Alright.
It's like, Fallout's actually a critique of capitalism, by the way. You know, like the only good communist is a dead communist robot.
Is it now?
That's actually a parody of all of you guys and everything like that. Well, here you have the original Fallout co-creator, Tim Kane, says, critique of capitalism was never the point. Never the point of the games, and if anything...
Now, this would have been after. Look at this date. Look at the date. This was published August 2024, so this was after 76.
There about how war is inevitable given basic human nature, and that is an element that is very often explored through, you know, the famous phrase "war never changes," and then a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know about like the last part, but it changes people, right? Like that's just the way it is. Like, basically, mankind, we grew up in the tribal ooga booga days and everything, and we didn't like anyone that was not part of our tribe, and we are still doing that to this day, and it's ingrained in human nature, except you've got all the globalists going, all the cultures should just live together in harmony, and we'll all hold hands and sing Kumbaya. And guess what? It's not working out because it's not in our nature. But anyway, what's Fallout about? War, nukes, consumerism, imperialism. How easy is it to misplace close relatives? All of the above. It's a debate that's raged for...
Fallout 4 was good for the most part. I hated that every gun was left-handed.
Listen, it's been a while since I played Fallout 4. I don't remember if it was left-handed or right-handed. No.
Ages, and no wonder. Fallout is a pretty rich text as video game series go, and there's all sorts of messages you can read into the likes of FO1, FO1, 2, and New Vegas. New Vegas was the best one. I'm sorry, New Vegas was the best Fallout game that ever got made.
I need to play New Vegas because from everything I've heard, New Vegas is awesome. I've never played New Vegas. Maybe what I might do is when I get the new computer, maybe I'll do a New Vegas stream. Because I've never played New Vegas. So maybe I'll do a Fallout New Vegas stream. Because, like I said, never played it. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe who knows? Who knows if I'll even wait for the new computer. You know, maybe I'll start doing I'm able to start streaming longer now, starting tomorrow. So maybe I'll start doing a New Vegas stream. I don't know. I can try it on the current computer, and I could try it on the current computer and see how it does with the audio, with my audio. Maybe I'll give it a try. I'll look into it after stream, see if it might be doable.
Or you can still click into any forum on the internet and find people arguing about which ending is best for the Mojave in New Vegas. It's yes, man. No, it's not. No, it's not. I take over. I always take over the strip. Every game. I mean, I've done every ending. I've done it. handed it over to Kaiser, I've handed it over to the fucking New California Republic. I've done all of that stuff, but the best ending is where you take over the script. But here's what it's not about, or at least what it's not inherently about: anti-capitalism. That's according to Tim Kane, one of the series' original co-creators.
Okay, I'm just gonna say flat out before we even get further in this video, I never considered Fallout as a franchise. I never considered it about an issue regarding capitalism, ever. It was about countries going schizo with their nuclear weapons, plunging the entire planet into a radioactive wasteland. I myself never even, like, the idea of it being capitalism never even stuck in my head. It was, I always got, it was just, the governments, like, just fell apart and everybody launched their nukes at the same time and turned the entire planet into a wasteland. And, the capitalism part was, okay, well, societies have to run on a currency of some sort, and hence the currency was run on nuka-cola caps. You could make the argument that what the hell was the name of the company? What was the, okay, chat, I'm sorry, but what is the name of the company that did the
Vault-Tec? 1950s culture.
Yeah, Robospartan, correct. It was that not steampunk, but that retro future look. And I mean, yeah, Vault-Tec, I realized it, Pactra. You could make the argument about Vault-Tec having their hand in a lot of stuff, but it still wasn't an anti-capitalism culture. It was more like a conspiracy theory culture, with Vault-Tec being in everything, with the vaults and the Nuka-Cola and all that stuff. Atom Punk, interesting name for a rat bastard. I get behind that. Atom Punk, retrofuturism, yeah. But yeah, it definitely was aesthetic, but it never felt capitalistic or anti-capitalistic at all. No, I never once really got that.
Creators over on his YouTube channel. More specifically, Kane spoke about it in the comments of one of his recent uploads, a video prosaically titled Capitalism, in response to a fan asking about Kane's view on Fallout as a critique on capitalist/corporative greed. I mean, it was never really about that. Yeah, you had all like the 1950s like adverts everywhere, come and buy your sugar bombs and like all this type of stuff as well, and everything was themed around nukes, because obviously Fallout is massively based on like the nuclear frenzy that was like the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, the advertisements didn't feel like it was capitalism. The advertisements felt more like it was really drilling home that Atom Punk or retrofuturism aesthetic. That was more for an aesthetic of it's, the 50s with sci-fi technology versus it being about capitalism. Yeah, it was world building. It was basically giving this fictional world its own unique flavor. It was giving itself its very specific flavor of a world. It had nothing to do with capitalism.
1950s, which is why, that's how it's themed. It's like, I forget the term
Patrick
for it.
Consumerism's right.
What's it called again? Is it called Art Deco Punk or something like that, where everything's sort of like all... In fact, no, Art Deco was well before the 50s, actually. Ignore me. But you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. Kane's response was unequivocal. Critique of capitalism was never the point of Fallout. How can you tell? Because the game went out of its way to mention that other countries like China were also behaving terribly. Sounds like it was a critique of nation states.
Yeah.
Nation states who decided not to like each other and make it their entire population's problem. And then the bombs fell. It sounds like lots of people were dragged into the apocalypse when they didn't want to be, because the states made that decision for them.
Yep.
At least that's what I'm taking from it. Because of course I would. That serves my narrative. Are you seeing how this works now? Which is true, of course, in the original isometric fallouts that Kane worked as a lead on. The US was a horrifying dystopia, a chauvinist capitalist hellscape, shut up, PC Gamer, that imposed its will on the world and shot anyone who disagreed. That is just nation states in general. But it wasn't.
Exactly. Trying to ascribe this to just the US is incredibly disingenuous. If you get any nation state, especially in a fallout situation, they're all going to be like this. This is when you enter an apocalyptic situation, things and more specifically people will fall back onto their more baser instincts, which, as much as the certain side of the spectrum would love to claim otherwise, is very much a male-dominated, materialistic, survivalist mindset. If we, to this day, if we experience something like Fallout in the modern day, guaranteed, the majority of the tribalist societies that formed post-apocalypse would be very much male-dominated. They would. Yes, there would be some female-dominated minor societies. Not saying there wouldn't. But the majority of them would be intrinsically male-dominated. The females would be subservient. And it would be very materialistic. That's just simply the base instincts of humanity. That's basically what it would be. So if we got into an apocalypse, I would not be leading some great rebellion. Where I would not be leading some, a big city-state because I'm smart or because I'm clever. Now, Atanashi, I'm realistic about this. If the apocalypse were to happen, I know where I would stand in terms of my place in the new society. And it wouldn't be it very likely would not be, I think, okay, if you guys came from all over the world to where I am and we formed a fiefdom, sure. But the realistic, the realistically speaking, no, I'd probably be someone's pet in that kind of situation. If I'm gonna be realistic. And I am being realistic. Because humanity just in catastrophic situations like that, humanity falls back on its baser instincts. It reverts back to caveman in that situation. It does. And that's just humanity. It's, I'm not like calling it bad or anything like that. I'm just being factual about this. Is, humanity will fall back to caveman in situations of global catastrophe like Fallout. Yeah. It's that's just the facts of the matter. Like I'm being dead realistic about this. It's, and like I said, there will be pockets where it is a female-led society just because circumstances allowed for that to happen. But by and large, it wouldn't be. Because men are the hunter-gatherers. That's kind of, from a biological standpoint, they're built for that. It's in the human species, the males are built to hunt. In other animal species, that is not the case. Take lions, for example. In lions, it's the female that is the hunter, whereas the male usually is not the hunter. They're usually hanging back and watching over the den and watching over the cubs. Then the female's going out to hunt. With humanity, the male of the species, biologically speaking, was designed to be the outgoing hunter. Okay, Tysell, you go have a good night. And Tars, now that's something entirely different. That is something entirely different. Where if you have a cunning woman being able to run it from the shadows, that is something different that I'm talking about. I'm just talking about, if we remove all of that cunningness, if we're talking about literally just going back to basics, as it were, from a purely biological and removing the sociological standpoint of it, just the biological I'm talking about. When you add in sociological aspects of it, now you get the cunning man or woman that's able to manipulate the leader from within the shadows. That's a whole different thing. A whole different thing. World as we know it and tomorrow, the two major goals are going to be food and breeding, the survival and rebuilding population. The name of survival will be the main goals until there's enough people to begin dealing with division of labor to do things other than hunting. True. Yeah, it's pretty true. I mean, we could get into a whole thing about how individual characteristics would work in a dystopian society. Male versus female, etc., etc. We could get into a huge discussion about that, but we're right in the middle of this, so we're not going to go into there. And Robespierre, yes, and that's why I said there would be some pockets of society where it would be female led. I didn't say I wasn't saying that all these societal fiefdoms and city states would be male dominated. That's why I said there would be some pockets and some outcroppings that would indeed be 100% female led. But it would not be the majority of them, realistically.
Unique. Fallout's China, which never dropped the smash the old world and forge the new world ideology of the Mao Zedong thought era, was also plenty violent. In fact, in Kane's original vision, it was China who dropped the bomb first. Huge argument in the Fallout series. Who shot first? Who dropped the first bomb? Like that, I know that's like a massive argument in the Fallout series. If anything, says Kane, Fallout is a comment that war is inevitable given.
Hey, hot take. Hot take. I think it makes it better if you don't know who shot first in Fallout. I think it actually adds greatly to the lore and the story of Fallout if you don't know who fired first. Because it adds this mystery of, how did this all start? Who fired the first shot that no one knows? So yeah, it's more powerful to the imagination, like you're saying, Grumpy. It's more powerful, imagination-wise, that you don't know, that there's that mystery hanging over this fictional world that will never be answered. That, leads people to pondering, but they're never going to know for sure. I think that is I think that is intensely much more powerful and thematic and a great storytelling tool versus actually knowing or discovering who really did shoot first. And yeah, Hoseki, I mean, it also brings up the question of, does it matter? Doesn't matter because the people who push the button are undoubtedly evaporated. So that's my hot take. It doesn't matter who shot first, and you shouldn't know who shot first. Because it gives the world that much more mystery and interest.
In basic human nature, and the mode of production doesn't necessarily have all that much to do with it. That doesn't mean Kane disapproves of an anti-capitalist read, mind you. I don't think I have any themes that run in common in all of my games, maybe mistrust of power, which I absolutely would agree, because the overwhelming majority of people who are now in the wasteland probably didn't want the bombs to fall. They probably didn't want that.
Well, I mean, while I've not played New Vegas, I've heard of New Vegas. I've heard about it. the whole mistrust of power thing, every power in Vegas, you can't trust them because they all, they all want to do something bad in some way. And it's like, especially in the circumstances of Fallout, you can never trust anybody's motives. Nobody's motives are probably going to be pure. So I can absolutely get behind that of mistrust of power.
But all the people that are in power in the state didn't like all the people in power in the other state, and he went, "Oh my God, they're coming for all of our power, our little 1%. Oh, the 1%. Ooh, they're coming for all of our power. Drop the bombs and let's fuck over the other 99% who now have to live in radiation with fucking death claws and everything running around for centuries because I liked the little bit of power I had, so I'm going to kill millions and billions of people because that's how states work." Like that's what it'll do. You do not understand the fucking depths that states will sink to whenever they feel themselves going into death throes and they feel that their power is genuinely under threat. I mean, look at Ukraine. They're dragging 14-year-old boys off the street that are just nipping down to the shops for a pint of milk and dragging them straight to the front. Like, that is the levels that states will sink to for the...
Win Silver, thank you for the resubscribe with Prime. I appreciate it. And welcome that.
Sorry, the ruling elite at the top of the state's hierarchy will sink to in order to protect their power. Fuck your 14-year-old son. He gets to go up there and take a mortar shell to the teeth so that I get to sit in my nice mahogany office and eat caviar. Like, that's what war is for states. It's never been. They'll feed you some fucking bullshit reason like this is about protecting democracy. No, it's not. No, it's not. Afghanistan, Iraq, all the others was not about protecting democracy. Iran's next, just so you know. Iran is the next one. Iran will happen.
Yeah, and this is why I was a little hesitant to watch Count Dankula. I was worried he was gonna go off on one of these tangents where he's bringing up, sociopolitical stuff like this. We'll let it keep going. This is kind of why I was hesitant to bring up one of his videos.
And they have been champing at the bit for Iran for fucking decades now. They've been desperate for it. Isn't it weird how a lot of the places we go to war with always have a problem with a certain other nation? But anyway, that's a discussion for another time. But people will interpret my games in all kinds of ways, and that's okay. Everyone brings their own perspective, and a story can mean different things to different people, which is absolutely true. However, when the actual author comes out and goes, "No, this is what I meant," then that's it. That is what he meant. However, people will always take their own interpretations away. Like a lot of people, I argue with people all the time over Fight Club. The interpretation of Fight Club. I think it was a man deciding between his masculinity and his femininity. I think the narrator had been diagnosed with testicular cancer.
Wait.
The interpretation of people all the time over Fight Club. The interpretation of Fight Club. I think it was a man deciding between his masculinity and his femininity. I think the narrator had been diagnosed with testicular cancer. He was the one with the ball cancer. Because for one thing that's quite funny is Marla Singer. Everyone's like, "Oh, Tyler Durden wasn't real." We all know that one. Neither's Marla. Why does she walk into traffic and none of the cars hit her? Do you ever see any character interacting with Marla apart from the narrator and apart from Tyler?
Yes! Yes, you do! Like, okay, chat, correct me if I'm wrong. In Fight Club, do not a couple of guys from the whatever Tyler called the organization, they drag Marla in at the end by the arms. So, yes, you do see Operation Mayhem, yeah. Two of the people from Operation Mayhem actually drag her in by the arms. So, yes, you do see people interacting with Marla. So, yes, she was real. Sorry, Count Dankula, you're wrong. Okay, now if it's different in the book, I have not read the original book on it. I've only seen the movie. So I'm referencing the book. It could be completely different. Um and the other play a sequel, they have trouble. There you go. And the whole thing of like he's like fighting between his masculinity and his femininity. Sorry, I didn't get that either. Like the beginning of Fight Club was was pretty damn clearly an anti-materialistic outlook. It was pretty damn clear that it was supposed to be anti-materialistic, and it dovetailed into anti-capitalism. So I don't know where he's coming up with this. For God's sake, one of the first sequences was showing uh uh the narrator's whole fucking IKEA setup with price tags next to it. I mean that's anti-materialistic. And then they were blowing up corporations, so then it turned into an anti-corporation, anti-capitalism. So I don't know where he's coming from on this, honestly.
And the whole choice at the end is the narrator basically deciding between his unhinged masculinity or his impending femininity, which is Marla Singer, the jaded, angry, fucking bitchy woman. And at the end, he realizes he is going to lose his balls. The masculinity isn't going to save him. So in the end, he holds Marla Singer's hand as the giant phallic buildings come crashing down, and he embraces his femininity at the end. That's my take on it. Argue.
What the fuck? Really? That was his take? I'm sorry, I have to disagree because the ending was him standing there with Marla watching the fruits of Tyler's labors to destroy these credit card buildings, and just standing there watching it glorious, watching the glory of it. And I mean, the crazy thing is, the really funny thing about the ending of Fight Club is the ending of Fight Club doesn't matter. Taking down those buildings doesn't matter. That's the funny part. Yeah, he blew up a couple of credit card buildings. Maybe he blew up a few more with other operatives from Project Mayhem. I'll give that one. Like other buildings got hit too. That doesn't just wipe away credit card debt. That doesn't do anything. I mean, the buildings were insured, the data's backed up. Right it? Because I am a rule violator. Come get me. Tyler Durgan can kiss my ass. Not sure I deserve that.
About that in the comments. But anyway, honestly, Pinko that I am, I've always taken an anti-capitalist read on the original Fallout games, but I'm not too surprised that Kane wasn't necessarily trying to make an isometric RPG version of the Grundrisse back in the 90s. When I consider his work like The Outer Worlds, which was intensely satirical of corporate life without really making much criticism of capitalism or private property as a whole, it makes sense that critique.
Yeah, it's an actually, like I said, I did not read the books. I don't know when the original book came out. So if it was, if when it came out in the books they had no digital backups, then yes, absolutely, that would work. Then that would make sense. But for the sake of the movie, they should have changed something. It would have been Hi Sharpshooter, welcome back. If they changed something in the movie to where they actually had some computer guys in Project Mayhem that went in and installed a virus into their computer system that wiped out the credit card debt and the backups before blowing up the buildings, that would have actually made a little bit more sense. So I think they needed to do a little bit of extra exposition along with blowing up those buildings. They needed to do some additional exposition, like, yeah, we've got these computer guys here, and they've got, they came up with a worm that we can get into their system that will wipe out all the credit card debt and all the backups that they have in place, and then we'll drop the buildings down on top of it as insult to injury. That would have worked. That would have, like, just that little bit of extra would have worked. Uh, really, Rat Bass? See, what's funny is what I heard is that the story I heard is, I can't remember if it was her or the director. They actually wanted to. They actually suggested saying something even worse. I can't remember exactly what the line is, but the other line that they suggested was so much worse that it might have been that one, Rat Bastard, yeah. Something like that. Like, it was so much worse, they said, okay, we'll go with the I haven't been since.
Of capital just isn't something that interests them much, which is fine. Like, I mean, no one can have an opinion on every single subject. And I do think, like, as far as things to be bothered about, I think war should be higher on the totem pole than capitalism. I do genuinely think that. However, I am a very, very staunch capitalist, and one thing that an olive branch that I will hand out is the MIC. Now, capitalists, especially ones like
Yeah, that's what I was thinking,
BAE
Sadistic.
Systems
There
and
was another
Lockheed
line.
Martin and stuff like that, they love a good war. They love a good war. And one thing that companies always try and do is drive sales. I don't need to explain further. You know what I mean. Fair enough, I suppose. Look how disappointed the little lefty writer is. I mean, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, Kane's still been responsible for some of my favourite games. I love how he's punishing him. Oh, he wasn't pushing the message I hoped he was. Oh, well, I suppose I still like him. Shut up. If he doesn't share my read of them. Share my read of them. He directly told you that your read of them is wrong. That's not what I meant. Like, he told you that it's not, your interpretation is incorrect. But anyway, plus, if there's one thing the Marx adjacent among us doesn't need help with, it's reading anti-capitalism into literally, God damn! Okay, all right then, I take that back. I take that back for the author that wrote this. All right, that was good. I enjoyed that. However, yeah, game stories can inspire you for like different things and everything like that. And an anti-war message is something I will always agree with. Fuck war, unless as an absolute last resort, absolute utter last resort. Right? None of this, American foreign policy where it's fucking arm the terrorists and bomb first and then ask questions later and stuff like that, which is why it resulted in the entire fucking world hating America to the point where American hegemony is gone in the next like 10, 15 years. I've said this many, many times. American hegemony in the next 10, 15 years is gone. People can't even afford, like, the vast majority of the American population can't even afford their fucking groceries, let alone a fucking house, because BlackRock's buying all of them. Right?
Which one?
American hegemony is going to go. But war never changes. But, like, it should be as a last resort. I'm very, very anti-war. Fuck war. It's fucking horrible. It's fucking terrible. And it's almost...
Dead ass.
never for noble reasons. It's usually always just to protect the power of the current 1% of whatever nation you happen to be in. That's what all war essentially is. And I hate it and I'm pissed off with it. There's never, basically in the last good few hundred years, there's never been like a good reason to actually go to war.
Alright, well, he went off on a tangent there. He definitely went off on a tangent. And I don't know. Hi, Mad Dog. Uh, it's something to talk about. God damn. See, there were some bad takes there. There were some bad takes. I have to say. Uh, you know, we're yeah, they're, war has been only about capitalism A's, including World War II in that, which, right, I think 6 million individuals who are no longer with us might disagree with Mr. Count Dankula on that point. I'm sorry, but yeah, horrible fucking take. Absolute fucking horrible take. Yeah, it's I was Shadow. You won't need to watch the VOD. I mean, I'll post it on YouTube. But well, no, Mad Dog. I'm talking about one very specific group of individuals that I'm not going to actually say on stream because I don't feel like having my channel nuked from orbit because I don't want to get involved in that particular discussion. And I'm not talking about the one back from World War II. I'm talking about the current one. Um, yeah, yeah. It's just like he had so many bad takes in this. Talking, basically just brushing off World War II as being a capitalistic war. Okay, fuck you. Like, fuck you and everything about that. Uh, oof. Yeah, yeah, I mean, we could go on and on.
Cheer 230 gonna get some rest. Just gonna drop my biddies on ya head.
Thank you, house guest. Have a good night's sleep. Don't forget, I'm starting early tomorrow. Yeah, Robosmart, exactly. WW2 was about a man who literally wanted to take over the world and do selective breeding in his personal idealized image. Point blank. Point blank. That is what WW2 was about. Yes, there may be other factors involved in it from a socio-political perspective, but this was an individual who thought every person on the planet should be blonde hair, blue eyed, and was willing to kill everyone in his path to get to them. That's not about capitalism. That is about, I mean, that's not about capitalism. That's about genocide. I don't think it could be any plainer than that. So, yeah, I'd say a lot of I'd say a lot of Count Dankula's viewers, grandparents, particularly their grandfathers, uh would take issue with his last statement about no war has been fought for good reasons in the last 100 years. Pretty sure there are more than a few people who would take very serious umbrance with that statement.